Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna talk about ghost stories. So I'm not sure if any of you ever had some sort of experience yourself with ghosts, whether you believe it or not. I certainly do, because I have reasons to believe so. I am a person who's easily sensing vibes and things, so I wouldn't really say that I can sense presences or something, but I do have a sort of inner gut telling me that things are good or not good. So I'm gonna tell you the 3 most outstanding encounters I've had in my life with spiritual beings or ghosts or whatever you want to call them. So yeah, let's start. So my first ever encounter with a ghost was probably back in 2007, 2008, something like that. It was actually in Czech Republic. I was on a holiday with my friend Elisa and her family. And she has an older brother, and we met a guy there. I actually forgot his name. Anyway, we met a guy there, we were hanging out and such, So at one point we decided to walk up a mountain. So beforehand, the things I need to tell you. The weather was quite nice. There was no wind. It was around 8 o'clock I think in the evening. And we were with 4 of us. So we were just chilling, talking a bit, just walking. At one point Elise says, she froze in her step and she was like, I see a ghost. So I looked in front of me and there was a lantern and there was something white underneath it. And I'm not even sure whether or not back then it was just an illusion or actually a white foggy spot. But the guy we were hanging with, he said no, ghosts don't exist. And out of nothing there was wind coming and we were just standing there Elisa grabbed us and she was like, we're going back, and she turned us around and we walked away. It was only the first encounter. The second one was a little bit more strange, and I'm not even sure if whether it was a ghost or I don't know. I don't really believe in God and such, but maybe it was some sort of angel. I'm not sure. Me, Elisa again. We hang out a lot, okay? Me, Elisa again, and our back then boyfriend. We are going to the city, Rotterdam City. We are planning on just hanging out there, all day. The thing teenagers do. About a year after the first encounter. And we were just walking around in the city and just walking around, really. And every time at one spot, I felt like a ticking on my leg, It was a really annoying but yet subtle ticking. As if someone was hitting me with a small stick, So I was getting annoyed. I was like, what the heck is that, And I looked. And of course there was nothing, No one was walking behind me with a stick hey. The entire day we walked through the city, and every time at that spot I felt the ticking. The mysterious ticking on my leg. And I was just like, what the fuck is this? It's I'm imagining things. And I'm so glad that every time we walked there I was complaining to Elisa and her ex-boyfriend, listen up, what the fuck is this feeling, Because if I would say so afterward, no one would have believed me. At one point it became evening, a little late. We went to the McDonald's to eat. We went further. It was almost time to go home, yet we still wanted to hang out a bit, so we still stayed in the city. At one point we heard bang bang, and I was like, fireworks? And Elisa, her ex-boyfriend, no, those are gunshots. So we were like, what the fuck? So we walked to a street like this, and there's a street like this. We walked to this street. And at the point we saw on the left side police saying, go away, go away, go away. So we were like, okay, we need to go, So we just sort of fled away from the city. And yeah, well, that's kind of the story. We were thinking oh, what weird, we experienced some sort of shooting, I guess. We weren't really sure what was happening and such, but well, whatever. But then, the next day, in the newspaper, I saw an article about a guy being shot in his leg at the exact place where I felt the ticking. And I swear to God, if I didn't tell my friends, everyone would think like, oh, she's lying, she's making it up. I'm so glad I told my friends that, because it's just so weird, you know. Like it was shooing me away, I guess. I'm not even sure what it was, you know. But yeah, I don't really think that's a negative kind of meeting sort of thing, you know. Now the third one, which is the most weird. Like this one is the strongest meeting I've had. So I went to my friends in Friesland, which is the upper part of the Netherlands. Back then I was 70 years old. And I was going there for about a week to hang out, you know, make fun. Let's call him Jeff. And I was meeting with another friend who lived nearby his house, sort of. Let's call her Tina. So I was staying at Jeff's place. So I used the pendulum. My mom used to be a witch when I was younger, and I sort of grew up in the spiritual kind of things. So yeah, from a young age I had a pendulum. So we went to Tina's house and we were just hanging out, you know, and we were playing with the pendulum, just asking innocent questions like, oh, this person, we would still hang out with her after our school finish, you know, stuff like that. And yeah, everything was cool and such. Now we were done, we went back inside, and at that point I felt like a heavy feeling on my shoulders. And I was like, what the heck, well, whatever, you know, you just ignore it, you just think it's in your mind. So I just ignored it. Then Tina's dad started telling us, like years ago, there was a kid living here in our house, but he got run over by a car and died on the same place, the same street. It's more of a farmer's place there, and I'm a city girl, you know. I just didn't want to be seen as the weird city girl who's imagining things or saying weird stuff, you know. So I just kept quiet for now. So then at one point, me and Jeff, we went back to his house. His mom picked us up, so we took the car, and while looking outside of the window, I saw the Witwieve, which is basically like you have a meadow, and if there's like a mist bank right on top of the meadow. So while looking out of the window, I saw this, and the feeling on my shoulders became heavier. So we went to my friend's house, and we were basically addicted to our iPads and Twitter. He was in his bed, I was on mine. We were both like scrolling on Twitter. At one point, it was around 2 o'clock, I guess, I felt like a hand go up my leg, and I heard, like in a very crying voice, Papa, Papa. I got goosebumps all over the place, and I was like, I have to imagine this can be real. And I didn't want to, you know, spread fear. So I decided to shut my mouth and just keep going. So after about 15 minutes, I decided that this wasn't normal, and I decided to ask my friends. So I told him, did you hear that too? And without saying what, he asked me, what? That's Papa, Papa? I completely lost my mind. I took my pendulum and I was like, I'm just gonna try this. And I just asked like, can you please go back? After that, I cleaned my pendulum. I felt sort of relieved, you know? So we just went back to bed not long after we fell asleep. So we basically met up with Tina again the day after, and we started telling the story. Like, listen, yesterday evening we suddenly felt something weird and we heard some weird voices. And we didn't mention a time, actually. We didn't mention what time it all happened. And she just looked us in the eye and she said, that's strange. Around 2 o'clock or something in the night, the dog suddenly started barking. We didn't say like around what time it could be, just yesterday evening. And she said the exact time. So this is once again a story where I'm pretty sure I'm not the crazy one or the weird one. Like, my friend actually experienced it with me, you know. I'm just glad that I wasn't alone those times and I wasn't the one going crazy, you know. So those are my 3 experiences. If you have one yourself, be free to share it in the comments. I would love to read your stories about like encounters with spiritual beings or with ghosts and such. If you want to see more of my videos, make sure to subscribe. And thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye bye!